Hey everybody, Tommy Ady here, right? Are we live? We're going. Okay, good. Let's do this. Hey, thanks for taking the time to join me on this webinar. I'm Tommy Ady and we're going to get started. I'm ready to get this going and you're going to love it. If you sell motorcycles, then you're in the right spot. I see people still logging into this, so I still want to make sure that we wait just a couple of seconds longer to let everybody get logged in here. I know some people can't hear. I'm so excited to have all of you here. I've been working on this for a few months, getting this set up, and we are ready to roll. I told everyone that I've got 3 big secrets to share, and that's exactly what I'm going to do shortly. I've put a lot of late nights into instant phone scripts to the videos. They had a ton of salespeople help out with secret shopper calls, trying new things, interviewing customers. One of the biggest manufacturers joined in asking if we could show them what texting does when combined with phone calls. And just overall, we've had so much help with it. So you're in the right place. This is instant phone scripts too for motorcycle sales. I'm really excited that you're all in this workshop. We're live here in Boise, Idaho, and first off, I'm going to make a huge promise right now. I'm going to show you how to increase your sales by 28% without making a single cold call or saying anything that's awkward. How's that? I'm going to share 3 huge secrets plus some strategies that you need to know about. That's my promise to you. But I've also got a goal. For myself and for you. And it's to help you get an extra 5 deals over the next 5 days that you never would have gotten without learning this content. That's right. Another deal every day for 5 days. Obviously, you can continue picking up a deal every day after that. But first, I want you to do this for 5 days. You do it for 5 days and then you'll find out how this works. You'll never quit doing it. Then after this webinar, when you get back to work, if you've paid attention to me, your life on the phone is going to be so much easier. You're going to hear exactly what I say to close deals over the phone. And because I know you could be doing something else, and I really appreciate you joining me on here, so I've got a little bonus, also known as a bribe. I'm going to give you this bribe just for showing up, but you've got to stay until the end. If you stay until the end, I'm going to give you my cheat sheet that tells you exactly when you need to call, when you need to talk, email, and text your customers. No more guessing when you should do this. It gets me a massive amount of appointments. This cheat sheet will completely change how often customers buy from you. So if you want a cheat sheet, then stick around till the end. Now, as we're beginning to start this, I need you to listen. If you've got your cell phone sitting there, turn it off. Got an iPad, laptop, shut it off. You can't have any distractions. I need 100% attention. So you get those cell phones on silent. So what makes this a different sort of webinar than others you may have seen? Well, I started selling back in 1987, part-time while I was still in high school. Practically grew up in dealerships my entire life in Northern California, Oregon, and Idaho. We had Ichiban Awards, #1 ATV dealer in the country, top 5 in Honda for warranty, volume, and penetration. Then I left it all. Gave it all up because I didn't like where I was at. Didn't like my town. Got burnt out dealing with customers and wanted to do something different. I had other businesses in the motorcycle industry that I wanted to concentrate on, and I wanted to teach other people what it is that I know. Eventually, I created a software program called the Right Back that is in hundreds of dealerships now. You may have read some of my articles in industry magazines out there, so you're in the right spot with the right people. So, now here's why knowing these secrets are so important. You need the sales. You need the money, the income. Our customers are only driving to 2 dealerships on average to check out what they want to buy. Just 2. Just a few years ago, they were checking out 4 or 5 dealerships, but now they check out your website, which, by the way, pretty much are all the same out there. They do the same things. They attract a lot of customers that want to buy something, but you know, more than half of them, the customers have marginal credit. But the customers, they call you and they email you. They don't drive to check prices much anymore. They just pick up the phone and they call. You know what that does? That gets rid of a lot of dealerships and salespeople within minutes, because we know what all those customers are doing is they're just making sure that they don't have to visit certain dealerships. They just call. And as you're going to hear today, it's usually because there's a lot of salespeople that don't know what to say, not because of price. That's part of the reason why some of these salespeople sell a lot every month and some salespeople sell an average amount. Now, it's okay being average though. When I say average, I'm talking about 18 a month, 216 a year. That's average in this business. 300 a year is good. Some salespeople are doing like 700 a year. Now, don't think that I'm telling you there's a ton of people out there doing 700 a year. It's probably around 100 salespeople doing that. You're probably wondering why some salespeople sell 18 a month and others sell 30 a month. They've learned what to say. They know what to say, know what to ask. They've got processes. You can take an average person, give them a good process, and make them a great salesperson. That's what I did. I was nothing great for a few years. Picture this. I graduated from college, decided that I was going to sell cars and motorcycles for my parents. They had car and motorcycle dealerships. I was in a town of about 8,000 people. My nearest large city was Boise, Idaho. Boise probably had 200,000 people at the time, 60 miles away. My dealership had 12 to 15 salespeople on the floor, and it was a race to get to the phone when it rang. I'd pick up the phone, say, "This is Tommy, how can I help you?" Let me look. Those are $69.99. My best price? If I could save you enough money, would you come buy it from me? And that's how my calls normally went. So each month, our dealership would sell about 150 units, quite a few, especially for our town. The phone rang about 450 times a month. I'd get about 50 of those calls, and I'd end up selling about 10 people over the phone and another 5 to 10 of the walk-ins. I didn't know that I could change any of that for a few years. So, unfortunately for me, I've done a lot of things the hard way, but I've also done a lot of things the right way. Now, fortunately for you, you're going to get to cheat, because I'm going to share with you the right way to use the phone. I learned a long time ago that my customers always said the same things and had the same objections whenever they started acting or saying they weren't ready to buy. I also learned after a few years that even though I thought my customers were so smooth at coming up with objections to buying from me, they weren't as good as I always thought they were. They always called to find out my prices and, of course, to see if I had certain models in stock. But I noticed the objections were always over price, product, time, or just to stall the buying process. So I'm going to share the right things I've done to make it easier for you. Check these out. I kept notes. That's right. I've been in this business for 30 years now. 30 freaking years. I graduated high school in 1988. I got tactical phone training cards with the 20 most common objections here with rebuttals on the back. Look at these. These things are instant answers to your phone objections. I'll show you how this works later on. So think about this. Have you ever imagined what it would be like if sales were easier? Like if you were so good at responding to customers' objections that you could just get them to quit calling other dealerships, quit talking to other salespeople, and just come in and buy. You know, they just say, "So what do we have to do next to get this wrapped up?" You know what I mean? There's less back and forth. Wouldn't that make your life so much easier? You'd know what to say to those same 4 objections that your customers always have. I know what it did for me. I quit worrying about having slow days, slow weeks, or months. I quit worrying about floor traffic. I quit worrying about how I was going to make my next paycheck. You could quit working on your days off. Quit taking calls from your customers after hours. You ever notice something awesome about phone ups though? They're ready to buy. What do the walk-ins say when you greet them half the time? "I'm just looking." You ever hear a phone up call in and say, "I'm just looking"? See what I mean? The phone ups are ready to buy, but you've got to ask the right questions. I want to dive into a wrong call right now. Let's get a bad call going right now. Listen to this.
Hi, could I speak to somebody in sales, please?
Yeah, this is Jacob. How can I help you?
Have you got any KX250s, new ones?
I believe so. Let me double check here.
Well, what I'm looking for is a 2018, and how much?
Okay. KX250?
Yeah.
Okay. 2018. We've got listed for $77.49 right now.
This guy that answered the phone, he wasn't a bad person. He's just an average salesperson making average money. He's got really good intentions. I've met him before, but I'm sure that no one ever taught him before this how to use the phone. It's an average salesperson with no process. Look, do you guys want an easy way that cuts the back and forth phone tag in half? Turns the tough customers into nice customers? Turns shoppers into buyers? What would you do with your life? What would your family think if you came home on time and you weren't stressed out about work? Not wondering where your next buyer was going to show up from, where your next paycheck was going to be. What would you do differently? You'd probably do what I did. Start to relax. Start to buy stuff that you want. That's what happened to me. I'm going to share with you my 3 biggest secrets right now that we're doing in 2018 to living this life. Secret number 1 is how I can double my sales in 5 days by talking on the phone versus other average salespeople, like I used to be, playing the waiting game, as in waiting for customers to walk in. Secret number 2 is I don't have to make hundreds of phone calls every day because I've got scripts that help me say the right things. That's a big plus because I hate making cold calls. Secret number 3 is I only need a phone to make this work. How can I make more money in 5 days by talking on my phone compared to other salespeople greeting customers on the showroom floor for an entire month? Look, just like you guys, when I'm on the showroom floor selling, I've got to sell a certain number of units to pay my bills. If you're paid like I always was, after payday, you're back to zero. Maybe you get a commission. It's the end of the month. You're back at your base and broke. You have no income coming in for the next paycheck until you sell something. Now, pay attention to these numbers. Don't forget some of these numbers. When I started selling, if I wanted to sell 18 bikes, then I had to talk to like 50 people to sell 18 bikes each month, which meant I had a 36% closing ratio. I averaged talking to a little more than 2 customers in the dealership each day. I'd take a couple of phone ups and I'd sell my 18 units every month. But after I sold for a couple of years, I got some professional sales help. I was stuck and I wanted more money. My mom said, get some professional help. By the way, my mom was the dealer. Really. She was the dealer. My dad was the dealer too, but she ran the show on the sales side. They both got me to where I am today. So my mom told me to get some help. I didn't know there was sales training out there, so I found Joe Verdi. I went to the first course, a 2-day sales training school in Salt Lake City. I was sold. Then eventually I went to every single course that he had, plus Grant Cardone, Jim Ziegler, F&I schools. I still get training today. My first trainer, his name was George, said, Tommy, there's no freaking chance that you're only talking to 50 people a month. You're talking to 100 people on the floor alone. And then he promised I was talking to another 50 on the phone. So I got back to work, tracked my numbers, and yep, my numbers were way off. I was not the superstar closer that I thought I was. I never knew about tracking this stuff before. Here's what I found out. I was talking to close to 100 people in the dealership on the showroom floor. People that were interested in what I had to buy. I was talking to about 60 phone ups every month. Also, that's 160 people each month I was talking to, but I was only getting names and numbers from somewhere around 50 of them total. My closing ratio was 18% with people that came in the store, but my closing ratio with people on the phone was about 10%. I was getting 6 of the 60 phone ups sold. So the first thing you've got to do is do the math, find out where you're at. My first math, which was incredibly inaccurate, showed that I closed 36% of my walk-in traffic. Once I figured out how not to cheat myself, the real math showed I was at about 18%. But my phone math showed I was only closing about 10% of my phone ups. But look, after I learned how to talk to people on the phone, my income went sky high overnight. And yes, my life started to get easier. Remember those 4 objections that I mentioned? I could turn those phone shoppers into buyers. I could get people to whip out their credit cards and give me deposits. I started taking names, numbers, appointments, and deposits. That's what I'm going to teach you right now. That's when I learned that I could sell a lot more if I just knew what to say on the phone. And of course, I had to do the math if I wanted to get better. So if you want to sell 10 motorcycles in 5 days, here's what you've got to do. Here's what I did, and you can do it too with my phone customers after I had my scripts, which took a lot of trial and error. I had a closing ratio of 78%, and that's accurate. What that means is I only needed about 50 people on the phone, just phone customers that I talked to on the phone. They're fresh phone ups, old phone ups, unsold customers that came in the dealership who I failed to sell. You've got to call those unsold people back. So I needed 50 people to talk to over 5 days. Out of those 50 phone contacts, I could get appointments set up with 25 of them. And so 13 would show up and I'd sell 9 of them. And that's how it worked. Today, I'm going to show you how I do it here in a second. Now, remember what I said about average people? An average person can become a superstar with a good process. I'm going to show you my process. By the way, I outsold the average salesperson by about 200%. Isn't that awesome? So you've got to do some math to know where you're at and how many calls you need coming or that you've got to make. So secret number 1 is do the math. Find out where you're at and know where you want to be. Secret number 2. I don't have to make a ton of phone calls because I've got scripts. I know what to say. Your customers have four types of objections: price, payment, time, or a stall. Nothing else. Here's what they're going to say. Your price is too high. It's too expensive. I can get it for less somewhere else. The book says my trade is worth more money. That's not enough for my trade. I don't have enough time right now. I'm going to think it over. I'm not ready to buy yet. I need to talk to my spouse. I've got to look at another one first. You see what I mean? You take these and they all go into one of the 4 objections. You can overcome them though. You won't close every person, but you'll sell a hell of a lot more than you are right now. So secret number 2, know what to say. I've got it right here. These cards, I text and I email these people too. So now I know some of you are going, I'm out. I can't text my customers. I can't email my customers. People are different in my city. Nobody texts here. People don't like to give out emails here. It's time to get out of the dark ages, guys. Some people like to talk on the phone. Some people like to talk by texting. Some just like you to email. I prefer all 3. You know why? Because I work with dealers, salespeople, and manufacturers that prefer different ways of communicating. And I've got to use all 3. But check this out. A recent Gallup poll showed that 89% of customers want to use text messaging to communicate with businesses. 89%. So if you're not doing this, then you're missing the bandwagon. I remember back around 2000. Holy cow. That's 18 years ago. 18 years ago, and email was catching on. I didn't want an email address. It didn't make any sense. Chevrolet was the first manufacturer that I was with that said, we're moving to email. What? What the hell's email? It didn't make any sense to a lot of us. Chevrolet would send these FedEx type packages to every single dealer across the nation every couple of days. Half the time we'd open them and toss them. They'd move to email. Look at email today. It's no longer an option. Same thing with texting. Some people think texting is just for millennials. BS. 97% of American adults are texting weekly. Then you take a look at my phone and see how many unread text messages I have on my phone. I never have any. They all get read immediately. So you've got to be willing to change. Marketers know that 2 to 5% of emails they send out are going to get opened. The marketing emails that my company does for dealerships has an open rate of around 30%. Then you look at text messages, 99% open rate. Whether your customer deletes them or not, they're going to open them. But as a salesperson, you don't send mass text messages. You send personalized text messages. Then customers respond back. Once again, you've got to know what to say. How do we know what to say? It's in this book right here. Look at this. All that tells you what to say. I've got scripts because I hate making tons of calls, but I also hate not making any money. During my first few years of selling, It was always slow at certain times of the year. Winter, holidays, raining, back to school, too hot, state fair hunting season. I always had reasons that my sales were up and down, and my sales managers would tell me to just start calling all of my sold customers and unsold customers, see how they were doing. See if they wanted to trade. Were they ready to buy yet? Or did they know somebody that's in the market? So I'd make these calls and pretty much get nothing out of them. I didn't like it, and it wore my ass out. It also was depressing with all the people that didn't answer the phone and don't want to talk to you. Also, I'm too busy, and it's not productive if I just sit and make call after call to people that don't want to buy. And I'm not one of those guys that like sitting at my desk making call after call all day. This is all you really need to make it easier. You just need to know what to say. You need some scripts. Does everybody know what scripts are? Scripts are things that actors use. They're just lines of words. Actors read the words over and over until they're memorized, and then they act, and they get paid millions of dollars for reading them. I've written hundreds of scripts for salespeople. I've wrote scripts to handle what customers say so I could sell more. And I learned a long time ago that buyers only have 4 objections that we need to overcome. Notice that I said 4 and not 1,000. I used to think that customers had thousands of objections, but then I started listening to all these recorded calls and figured out there's only 4 objections that I had to overcome. You've got to put it in your own words sometimes. You've got to make it your own. The thing is, you've got to listen to your voice on the phone. Do people want to deal with you? Do you sound like a pro? Do you sound like you're interested? Do you sound like you're on a date with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend? As in, you've got to be so good, build so much value. If you can't close the deal that you're trying to close, they want a second date. In sales, just as in dates, you're not always going to close the deal the first time, but you better be so good that they want to see you again. Are you doing that? Do you do that? Now let's see. Here's a call. Let's hear a good call.
Proper, like we do lips, period. It's what we're known for, okay? And here's the thing, let me give you an example. I got a Razor 900 sitting on my floor right now on 34s. It's got clutch work, it's got the low gearing, it's got the beefed up double reverse chain, it's got upgraded axles, right? That's gonna tack onto the price, man. But here's the thing, you'd be silly to buy one without all that stuff. I mean, you know all about it. You got your machine in pieces. No other dealer is going to take it further than just rims and tires, which means they don't care about you. They don't care about your bike. They want it to come back in service so they can fix all those problems it's going to cause. That's all I do. I'm going to send you some pictures. Is this your cell phone? I'm going to send you a text message. I've got a bunch of buggies we've done recently in the past few months, big lifts that have all the work I'm talking about. So the XMR already has forward A-arms and some better ground clearance. But here's the thing you're getting. You're getting internal gear reduction, your sprog housing is twice as thick, you're getting all your switches, your solenoids is completely sealed. Okay, your entire driveline component system is beefed up to handle all that extra strain. You can do this to a regular machine, but if you want to get the equivalent, it's going to be a lot of tearing down and a lot of upgrades. I have 2 Defender XMRs in stock. I've got one on my showroom floor. I've got the yellow one and I've got the camo one. And they're available. Here's the other thing. I'm sitting on 40 acres of land over here. You want to come drive this and put it next to a stock one and see the difference, you're more than welcome to. I'd actually prefer it. So when are you going to be in town?
Yeah.
Okay, next week. Well, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, for sure. I'll call you as soon as I hear back.
I'm going to...
Thank you, sir. Sorry.
Sure. What's your email address, Ernie? Okay, I'm going to get some stuff sent over to you here in a little bit. I got a couple customers, so give me some time. But anything you need at all, just text me. That's why I'm giving you my personal line, so you can have direct contact with me. You got a pen and paper available? Okay. Well, look, when you get a second, write my name down. My name's Mike. There's 2 Mikes here. I'm the only one in sales. All right? I'm going to text you all my contact info anyways. But just reach me on my cell phone, and when you think you're going to come in, give me a holler. I'll touch base with you in the next couple of days.
But my goal is to build enough quick rapport with this guy, with somebody that I can maybe get around giving them the price. And I know a lot of you are sitting at your dealerships right now thinking to yourself, there's no way to get around the price. I've got to give that guy a price. And guess what? You may, but when I give a price, I don't hesitate and sit there in silence afterwards. It's totally okay to give them the price. They ask the price, I give the price, but then I build a bridge over to something else. The price on that is $99.99. Speaking of price, were you looking for a red one or a blue one? Eventually, I will absolutely give them a price. That doesn't mean I'll give them the best price. It doesn't mean I'll give him invoice out the door. It doesn't mean any of those things, but I will give him a price. I will not give somebody a price and risk them not coming in. But what I won't do, and what so many dealerships do today, is you call in as a customer. I answer the phone as a salesperson. You say, hey, have you got a Razor 1000 there? Sure do. Which one you want? I want the blue one. Great, man. How much are they? $17.9. All right, sounds great. Okay, thanks for calling. And that's it. I'm going to go for the appointment and try to get you to come in. Plus, it doesn't matter if you're a mile away from me or 1,000 miles away from me. I'm going for the appointment. Customers are proven that they'll travel pretty damn far for the right deal. And the right deal isn't all about price. A good deal involves a salesperson building value over the phone, in an email, through a text message, and in person. People will not buy from you just because you're the local dealer anymore. So then we did these experiments. I had to use a dealership that had about 5 average salespeople, or 3 average salespeople in it for this experiment. No superstar salespeople, just average people. We took a salesperson A. Salesperson A did everything just as he always did. Tried to sell everybody. No changes to his process. Salesperson did everything as usual, but B was required to ask every customer if it was okay to text them a little bit more info. Then we took salesperson C. C asked every customer for permission to call, text, and email, but also asked which line of communication was preferred by the customer. Guess what the number 1 line of communication was? Texting. Guess who saw the biggest increase in their sales? Salesperson C. Sales for salesperson A stayed about the same. B barely had an increase, and C also outsold both of them, but not by that much. It was kind of a failure, unproductive. So when I tried this new model, we used the same salespeople, but we told them what to say with scripts. The first month we tried this new model with the scripts, you'll never guess how many salesperson C sold. 37. Salesperson B, 26, and salesperson A still came in around 20. So let me show you how we do it. It's 4 steps. The greeting, the investigation, rapport, close. The greeting on the initial incoming call is just greet every customer with the name of your dealership and your name. The caller typically asks about a product and a price, right? I say, I'll get that for you. What's your name? How do you spell your last name? What's the number I can call you back at? I already gave them a reason I need their number to call them back. They asked if I've got a certain unit in stock or a price, and I told them that I need to check on that. Even if you know, tell them you'll check on that. By handling my greeting like this, offering my name, telling them I'll check on that, and asking for their contact info, it's beginning the rapport building process. That's all I'm doing. Then the investigation. Now, you've got to investigate. I'm not talking a 10-minute investigation. I'm talking some basic questions. If you ask the simple questions, what are you riding right now? That allows you to know if they might have a trade. And it opens up the door to build some rapport. Where are they calling from? I've got to know where somebody's calling from so I know how to ask the next questions. If they're local, then I'm not going to have a problem getting an appointment. But if they're pretty far away, then I'm going to go for a deposit at the end of the call. Rapport. People buy from other people because they like them. It's not always about price. I've got to build rapport, and it's them knowing my name that will help get that going. When I ask them what they're riding now, there's only two answers: nothing or something. Now, the other way it goes is they tell me they've already got a bike. Great. Now I know they might have a trade-in. But I'm not going to go there because trade values start to come up, and those are tough over the phone. So I don't ask them a thing about their current ride because I don't want to talk about it, at least not yet. And then I close with a deposit or without a deposit. Now I've got to close the appointment, though. Definitely got to have an appointment. If they're a local, then it's going to be really easy. I've done steps 1 through 3. I've got a name, number, know what they want, what they ride, and I ask what's a good time for you to come in now or later on today. Because I ask them just like that, about half of my phone ups will answer my question. They'll say now or later today. See what I do? I don't let my customers just wander in. I go for an exact appointment because I try to work by appointment only. Or at least I want to come across that way. The reason why is they're more apt to show for their appointment if I nail them down on a time. So once again, I can do what I've been doing, selling mainly to my walk-in traffic, taking phone calls, and with my 20% closing ratio, selling about 20 bikes a month. Or check this out, using my scripts and practicing. So I get good at this stuff. So I can still take my walk-in traffic, but also taking at least 4 phone ups every day, hopefully more, and setting appointments or closing 3 out of the 4 and getting an extra sale every day. What I always did was get all the walk-ins that I could, but then I figured out how to use the phone, and then almost overnight I picked up an extra sale every day. Isn't that awesome? Imagine if you're in a bigger dealership or the phone starts ringing like crazy, you start taking 6 calls every day or 8 or 15. Can you imagine what that does to your life, to your income? Think of how much money that is. What if you start getting 20 calls every day? Could you handle them? Can you imagine the money that you'd make if you knew how to handle them? There's dealerships out there and salespeople out there that have that happen, and they can't handle them. They get overwhelmed. It's the deer in the headlights syndrome. It's typically a Saturday, and they're trying to help all the walk-in traffic. They're trying to answer the questions on the phone. Internet leads aren't even getting responded to. And then Saturday's over, and they've struck out or ended up with what they always get: average sales. Let me ask you guys a question. This stuff's been pretty good, right? You've been with me for probably 45 minutes or so. We've all had a pretty good time, right? You've learned some good stuff, but a half hour, 45 minutes, it's really not that long. How would you guys like to work with me directly where I could actually help you implement what we just talked about? Let me ask you a question. You want to sell more on the phone and in your dealership, but you need a good process and you need to know what to say. You need to become that person that customers want a second date with. The person that customers will pay more money to because they know that you've got to be the best that there is. How would you like help with this? How many extra sales would you need to become satisfied? Imagine if you could get an extra 50 sales a year, 100 sales a year. What kind of money would that be for you? How would you like it if I could actually help you implement this? Most of us have some disposable income. We get our paychecks each week or each month, and we've always got money to go get lunch every day, go out to get lunch, go out to dinner, alcohol, stuff like that. We spend it, and then we get another paycheck. So it just keeps on coming, and we've got more disposable income. Now, I'm not asking you guys to go into debt for all this. What I'm trying to ask you to do is take some of that disposable income that you're going to use on going and buying crap and going out to dinner instead of blowing it on that kind of stuff that's only going to be there for a little bit and then drift away because you eat it or drink it. Rather than just lose it, I'm asking you to make an investment in yourself because the money you put into this is going to turn into more money. You know what poor people buy? They buy liabilities. They buy cars and boats and stuff that depreciate. They buy things that you put the money in and then the money disappears. And what do the wealthy people do? They buy investments. They buy things that actually turn into more money. And all I'm asking you to do is take some of that disposable income and turn it into an investment other than spending it on something that's going to take money away from you. Okay, now. So let me talk about what you're going to get. I've put something together for you. And now I'll show you what it is. The first thing that you're going to get my Instant Phone Scripts online video series. I don't have them. They're online. I'd show them to you. Today it's at 20 videos. Next week it's going to be up to 30 videos. The second thing that you're going to get is the Instant Phone Scripts book, which is 60 pages of detailed help here. Then the third thing you're going to get is my 4-step phone process. That has the video series online. Then you'll also get the tracking sheet. So you know where you've been and where you're going. And the final thing that you'll get are these really cool 20 of my tactical phone objection cards. So now you've got an entire value of $2,062. But then I'm going to give you a bonus. That's right, the right back. Some people know it as Moto Menu. Some people know it as the right back. You'll get a 2-week trial of the right back along with free online training for a quick start, and that's a $373 value. So the first thing you're going to get is you're going to get my Instant Phone Scripts online video series. Today it's at 20 videos. Next week it's going to be up to 30 videos. The second thing that you're going to get is the Instant Phone Scripts book, which is the 60 pages here. Then the third thing you're going to get is my 4-step phone process, and that's the video series online. Then you'll also get the tracking sheet here, wherever I put that. Plus I'm throwing in the right back software, plus all of these cards, so you know exactly what to say. That's $24.35, a value there. But I'm not going to charge you guys $24.35 for all this stuff right now. I could, but I'm not going to. But let me ask you, if all this package did was get you an extra sale each week, would it be worth it? If all it did was give you a kick in the butt to start saying the right things on the phone, would it be worth it? What if it gave you an extra 100 sales each year? Would that make it worth it? But don't worry, guys, I'm not going to charge you that. So what's one sale worth to you? Is it worth $100 or a few $100s? How much would it add up to over a year? What if it added 2 or 3 sales each week? You'd probably do it, wouldn't you? Because it's a good deal. I think that you can see why dealers pay me $40,000 to $100,000 a year just to train them on this stuff. It works, but don't worry, I'm not going to charge you $2,000. You're getting it for a fraction. You can see why it's a good deal at $24.35, but I'm not even going to do it for $1,000. Here's a good deal. I'm going to do it for $297. Look at the phone training that you get. It's made to sell motorcycles. It's to handle objections. It's for referrals, B-backs, price shoppers, how to double your appointment rate, how to double your close rate, how to do the math to hit your goals, increase your confidence, how to call walk-ins back, how to call phone-ups back, how to handle trial closes over the phone. Gives you the trial closes, the write-up, the payments, how to handle long-distance customers, local customers, call their bluff. It just goes on and on. So now you've got an entire value of $2,435. Now even with this bonus, you're still getting it for $247. I'm going to do it for $297, I mean. So a lot of you guys have been on webinars in the past. You get fired up and excited, and then what happens the next day? Probably nothing. And it's sad because I've showed all of you guys exactly what I do to sell more in a week compared to what it takes most people a month to do. You've got my exact scripts. You're going to go back to work and not do anything. And the reason why is because old habits are really hard to break. You'll go back to your desk and do the same thing tomorrow morning. The only way that you're going to be successful is if we figure out a way to break this habit, right? Okay. And the way you're going to break this habit is by investing in this course. Now, I can come here and I can help you and give you all the tools that you need so you can break that habit, so you can become more successful at selling over the phone. If you don't do that, you'll slide back to the exact same habit. Everything we did here, the last hour, will be pretty useless because it's so easy to slip back to your old habits. So the only way to break that is to invest right now. So you have the tools to break that habit and take this to the next level. Look, this is the way it is. People in life can have one of two things. You can have money or you can have excuses. That's it. So right now you've got two options. Number one, you can sign up and get involved and go make money. Or number two, why you couldn't afford it, why you can't do it, why you don't have enough time. Whatever your excuse is today is fine, but the reality is you can't have both. You've got to have money or excuses, and you've got to decide which one you want. I don't know about you, but I'd rather have money. So if you're ready to take some massive action in your life and do some cool stuff and change your life for the better, if you want to join us, then this is what we're going to do, Instant Phone Scripts. Let's get started now. Just go to instantphonescripts.com. Look, guys, I'm nothing special. I spent years trying to make money selling. I just never quit selling. I kept figuring different ways to sell. I kept restructuring and trying different things until I got it. I just kept using trial and error until I figured this incredible thing that makes it so easy. You can keep doing it the hard way and go figure it out for yourself, or just read the scripts and watch the videos and do it the easy way. It works. It's awesome. I'm just a normal guy like you, and I promise you that if I can do it, then you can do it too. Now, if you're a dealer, the GM or a manager that wants to take advantage of my training in your dealership, then we've got packages for that too. After you purchase the Instant Phone Scripts package, you're going to get a follow-up call from us to make sure that you got your package, get you logged into the right back, and then we can find out your needs for specialized training. I've got one other thing. Some of you might have some questions that have not been answered, so you'll see a phone number there. You can just call that number and leave your full name and number. We'll call you back no later than tomorrow to answer your questions and get you signed up. Something I almost forgot was my 30-day trial. If for any reason you get this and you don't like it, I'll refund your money. You call me at 29 days, you don't like it, you'll get a refund. Okay, guys, so this is it. I got to bounce, so I appreciate y'all hanging out with me for the past hour. Get signed up now if you haven't. You're going to make some money if you do sign up with this. Thanks for joining me. I'm out of here. Get over to instantphonescripts.com if you haven't. Adios.